Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Marston. Today I'm sitting here with a four-time award-winning TV host, the catalyst for one of the most compelling professional wrestling interviews in the game, the host of Insight with CVV. Ladies and gentlemen, the man himself, Chris Van Vliet. How are you doing today, Chris?
Great to see you.
Great to meet you again, man.
What an intro. Thank you so much. I hope I live up to all these things.
Absolutely. I took all morning trying to just figure out the perfect intro, and I'm like, I hope I did a good job.
I think you nailed it. You nailed it. You're also dressed the part. I feel very underdressed here.
No, I mean, I did my best, but
this is good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Chris, I'm just curious. Before interviews, do you ever feel the butterflies?
I think I feel the butterflies trying to live up to the expectations that I have for what that interview is. Like, especially when you're talking to people who are the legends that you looked up to when you were a kid.
Yeah. Like
when we were about to go to Stone Cold's Broken Skull Ranch and sit down with him for an interview, John Cena coming into the studio, I just think a lot about like, I've got an hour. Will this live up to the expectations that I have? And it's not nervous to like meet the person. It's more nervous of like, will this meet the expectations that I have set for this? And I would like to think that the answer is usually yes for that. But man, I'm so grateful to be able to do this. How lucky am I?
Oh, absolutely.
That I get to sit across from these people and pick their brain and hear their stories.
Yeah. No, for sure. Has there been one particular interview where you were like, man, like just getting the nerves, before wrestlers, they're about to go through a curtain, they feel like these sense of nerves and these butterflies going through the match over their head. Like, have you felt that?
I think for me, it's like, will this interview still happen is often like the nervousness that comes about. Like, especially when someone huge says yes. And they're like, yeah, we'll do it on Friday at 11.
Yeah.
And then you're like following up, here's the time, here's the location, here's the arrival, all that stuff. Like I remember when I did that interview with John Cena, WrestleMania 35 weekend. It's the only interview he did in New York City that weekend.
Right. Wow.
And we had set this up through text.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, I'm going to be working out at this gym. Meet us there at this time. And like when you come up the elevator, like that's where the gym is. It's like a private gym in Manhattan. And I remember going up the elevator and like, he wasn't there. And like,
you literally couldn't see him.
So I texted him, I'm like, yep, I'm here.
Yeah.
And he texted back, he's like, I can't see you and I'm not trying to be funny. And I'm like, John Cena just used his joke. So there was the nervousness of like, am I at the wrong place?
Yeah.
Am I like, did I read the instructions wrong? Am I here at the wrong time? I think that that's where the nervousness comes in, not like, oh my gosh. I think another thing is like, I think often about how is the interview going to start and then how is the interview going to end? And this was a great piece of advice given to me by Roz Weston, who's actually a radio host in Toronto, the Roz and Mocha Show. And he said, with a radio segment, you want to know how you're going to get into it and know how you're going to get out of it. So if you've got a 2-minute talk break, know how you're going to get into it. The middle will figure itself out and then know how to get out of it. Throw to the next song, throw to commercial, whatever it is. And I think about interviews in that way. How are you going to break the ice? How are you going to start things off? How are you going to get that snowball rolling down the hill?
Yeah.
And then once you get going, the momentum kind of takes it and then it's just two people hanging out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you've done an amazing job on trying to create that comfortable environment for, other wrestlers. Like, for example, like Stone Cold, he had a podcast, but then you don't really hear him talking to other people like that. But you had time with him, and you got to pick his brain. And I think that's so awesome. It's awesome to see different sides of these people that you don't get to see. You know what I mean? And same with John Cena. Like, he's such a wise person. Like, you've seen his Twitter.
Yeah.
You've seen him just tweet amazing things, and for him to have time with you and get to say all these things, it's awesome, man. So
yeah, Cena's Twitter is full of like all kinds of just truth bombs and knowledge. Like, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I tried not to think about them as interviews. I try to think about it like, if you and I had the chance to catch up and grab a beer or eat some pizza and watch the game, I wouldn't be like, all right, so I'm going to ask Dan about this thing. And then when he's answering that, I'm going to then ask him about this other thing. It's like, I would just follow the conversation. Like if you said, oh, I just got back from a trip, I wouldn't go, all right, cool. So anyway, what are you doing later today? I'd go, oh, where were you? Oh, how long were you there for? Like, you'd ask the obvious questions. So like when someone in an interview, for example, says like, oh man, that was top 3 like scariest moments in my career, you'd probably go, what were the other 2? And then you get 2 other like great bonus stories out of that. So just try to be present as much as I can. Larry King has this great quote that I always come back to. I never learned anything while I was talking. And it's the idea of like, you ask a question, you shut your mouth, and you just listen and you learn.
No, absolutely. I think that's a great piece of advice. It really goes to show like you dedicating all this time to your craft, and it's, you know, you're inspiring generations, man.
I don't know about
You're
that.
paving the way for a lot of people.
I'm a guy who gets to talk to wrestlers. How lucky am I?
No, absolutely. But I wanted to ask you, has your work in media, press, and radio paved the way for the success of your podcast, Insight with CVV? And do you think the success of your podcast, what do you think that is going to pave the way next for?
My work in media and broadcasting for sure paved the way for what I'm doing right now. If it wasn't for that laying the foundation, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now.
Right.
I fell into YouTube and podcasting kind of by accident. I was working as a TV host, an entertainment reporter, and I had the opportunity to interview some of the biggest names in the industry. So when you're talking about entertainment, you're talking about actors, directors, comedians, sometimes wrestlers as well. So I was interviewing these people, and like with the old school model of television, the only people that would see my interview with Steven Spielberg, Julia Roberts, Tom Cruise, whoever the person may be, would be someone watching that TV station at that exact time on that exact day in this exact city. And I'm like, well, there's got to be other fans of this person who would want to see that. So I would just take the raw interview, throw it up on my YouTube channel. And this is dating back, like I first started doing it in 2007 on a YouTube channel that like had like a pseudonym, like it wasn't a Chris Van Vliet channel. It was just a channel with a silly username because we weren't supposed to be like taking these files and putting them up there. And then in 2011, I just created this channel that I have now and was just putting these raw interviews up. And I realized that like there was this hunger to see these interviews outside of the viewing area of the TV station that I happened to work for. So that kind of paved the way for like, all right, I kind of understand how digital media is working. And I was able to like take some chances, throw it up on YouTube. If it worked, great. If it didn't really matter because it wasn't tied to what I was doing for work. And then the podcast kind of followed where it was like, if you like these interviews, but you can't have YouTube open when you're on a walk or on a treadmill or at work, let's take the audio and put it on a podcast. I don't know what this turns into now. I still feel like we're in the early days of content creation. And I feel lucky that people like you and I have already started doing this because the longer the time passes, I think the harder, the barrier of entry will always be low.
Yeah.
Can you hit record on a camera like this? And the answer is clearly yes.
Yeah.
But I think that the more time that passes, the more people will be in the space. I don't know what this is going to turn into, but I'm along for the ride.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, you know, it could lead to a lot of things. And with those opportunities comes a lot more TV time. With TV time, we saw you in AEW back in, I think it was the debut episode, right, of Dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was on the first episode and the fifth episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you be open to being an interviewer on TV possibly for WWE, for AEW, for hell, even in Japan?
I'm open to whatever makes the most sense.
Yeah.
If that were to come along and it wasn't going to interfere with what I'm doing right now, absolutely. That'd be so cool to be able to do that. Look, I'm a kid who grew up watching wrestling.
Yeah.
A kid who grew up idolizing these people. And now I'm so fortunate to be able to like share a conversation with them.
Yeah.
If that worked out, sure. But like, I'm really fortunate right now that I just get to talk to people that I personally find interesting.
Yeah.
And it's turned into what it is now.
Absolutely. It's a lot, you know, coming at you. But with all that, I wanted to ask you, has there ever been a pivotal moment in your career where it changed your perspective on approaching certain interviews?
I don't know if there was one particular interview, but I think the biggest thing for me was like trying to be as present as possible. And I think that John Cena interview that I was referencing earlier, WrestleMania 35, so 2019, that one I just like, he was just dropping so many quotes during that interview. He said something during that interview that I'll never forget. I think about it almost every day. Control the controllable. And it was just the idea for me in that interview of like, just listening. Like sometimes you get so caught up in like, I'm like you, man, I'm setting up my own cameras and my own mics. And like, sometimes you're so worried about like, does the shot look okay? Is the mic working? Like, is the lighting okay? I think about this all the time. And for that one, I was just like, let's just be here in this moment and appreciate what's going on here right now. I also think another big thing I learned was like, sometimes the best questions are the most obvious ones. So for example, if I was interviewing you and you came in here with pink hair and I didn't ask you, hey Dan, why do you have pink hair? People would be like, what the heck? You didn't,
Yeah.
how did you not ask that? So I
Yeah.
think sometimes the best question is the most obvious one. I also think sometimes the best question is the simple one. Like if someone says, oh, I didn't want to do that. Why not? And then it opens up to like, okay, or sometimes it's okay to go, oh, I didn't know that. Like I feel like when someone says, oh, so I was talking to Jamil Malik the other day, you know who I'm talking about, right? Oh, yeah, of course I know who you're talking about. It's okay to go, no, who's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Because then you're putting yourself in the audience's shoes of like, they don't know who you're
Yeah.
talking about.
100%.
Please inform us. So I
Yeah.
think that was another big lesson learned.
No, absolutely. I think separating yourself from the audience is also really important because you want to make them feel like they're right in front of you watching, even though they might be behind a computer screen watching, right? Like you want everyone to feel like part of something special. So I think you've done an amazing job at that for sure.
I also want the audience to realize that like they're on this journey with me.
Absolutely, yeah.
And like I am one of them. I am a consumer of wrestling podcasts.
Yeah.
I am someone who watches interviews, wrestling and otherwise all the time. I'm just in the fortunate spot to be able to have these conversations. So I want somebody watching to hear a question get asked and go, I've always wanted to know the answer to that.
No, absolutely. Man, I just want to say you've achieved so much in such a short period of time, but with the success that you've achieved in such a short period of time, how do you personally define success, and has that changed over the years for you?
That's such a great question. I think for me, I've always defined success as, am I excited for what I'm going to do that day? And then at the end of the day, am I proud of what I've done? That's it. Wake up tomorrow, rinse, lather, repeat, and let's do it again. And this, I think, stemmed back to when I was in college. I was studying communication studies at Wilfrid Laurier University. I was having a blast there, living with my friends. And I had a moment in my senior year where I was like, oh my God, when we graduate at the end of this year, we have to go work for, the rest of our lives. And I realized in that moment, I just didn't want to be one of those people who hated their job. At worst, I would I didn't want to hate it. I didn't want to love it. I didn't want to even like it. I just didn't want to hate it. I didn't want to be one of those people who couldn't enjoy Sunday because Monday was the next day. So that's, I think, where I came up with this definition of like, am I excited to do what I'm going to do today? Whatever it happens to be. Cool. That's a life worth living. Yeah. And like now that I'm a father, I think it's changed a lot of like, am I the person that my kids think that I am? I'd like to think I am.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think, being a role model for the next generation for your kids is certainly one of the most important things in life, right? Like leading the next generation into great things. And, I'm sure you're an amazing dad, dude. Yeah.
I'm trying.
Who has been the most significant influence in your life, personally and professionally, and how have they shaped you into who you are today as Chris, the human being?
My mom and dad, for sure. And they are such an incredible example of love and friendship and companionship. This year they're celebrating their 52nd wedding anniversary.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations to Helen and Dirk. Yeah. I think it's them. And like also the idea that like they never told me that any of my dreams or goals or aspirations were silly or too big. They just said, hey, go for it. And they allowed me to dream big. Sometimes those didn't work. Sometimes they did. So I think it's because of their just open belief of like, yeah, go chase after it, figure it out. I think that's allowed me to be the person that I am now.
Oh, that's awesome, man. It's always amazing to have a supportive friend group, parents, just overall good support system really does help, at the end of the day, so that's awesome to hear. But now that you're a dad, how has that changed your life when it comes to approaching your career with interviews and traveling and all that?
Family comes first.
Absolutely.
And that was not the case for a long time. It was career comes first. I got married 4 years ago. We now have 2 kids. Logan, our daughter's 2.5. My son Cooper's 14 months. So like they are the priority now.
Mhm.
So it's last flight out to get to wherever, like Chicago, where we are right now. It's first flight home, whatever time that happens to be to wake up. That's the priority. And if there's something on the calendar, like we're going to one of my kids' friends' like birthday parties, like, well, I can't do that interview in Dallas or in Las Vegas or whatever the case may be. Like that stuff is so important.
Mhm.
I'm so hyper aware as well that like little kids are only little kids for
Yeah.
so long. Like I'm gonna blink and they're gonna be 7 or 10
It's gonna
or
go by so quick.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that
Yeah.
that has been the biggest thing that has shaped my career is like I think about my wife Rachel, Logan and Cooper, number one top priority by
Mhm.
far.
No, absolutely. Family comes first, man. I agree 100%. Absolutely. If you had to teach your kids one wrestling move to protect themselves from the entire world, what would that be?
What wrestling move is actually effective in real life? Not many.
Ooh, man.
Okay, so I'm gonna
RKO. No.
I'm gonna kick you in the gut when I do that. Could you bend over at exactly a 90-degree angle so then I can put my left arm underneath your head and then hook your arm over my head? I give my daughter Logan power bombs pretty frequently.
Oh,
very safe,
of course.
But I will like flip her up, and she's like, she thinks it's the greatest thing. I don't know what move would be effective. Maybe a move that would like dazzle people, like teach my kids to do like Starship Pain.
Oh, of course, yeah. Do a whole spin off like what's that thing called? Where the kid sleeps? Sorry, I'm trying to.
Like a crib or a bunk
crib.
bed?
Sorry, I'm bad at this. I'm not a dad yet. I don't know this.
You know the thing that looks like a cage where they sleep. Yeah. I don't know. Like if someone pulled out a Starship Pain in real life, you'd be like, what the heck is that?
I don't know. Put that kid in football, man. At that point. If you could give them a wrestling catchphrase for the rest of their life to carry them through life, what would that be?
Oh, just one wrestling catchphrase?
I mean,
it doesn't matter what the wrestling catchphrase is.
Okay.
Probably that one.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Yeah, I think that one.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Works in every situation.
Yeah. Just keep it moving.
Keep them on their toes.
That's what you gotta do. But looking ahead, what impact do you hope to have on the next generation of interviewers and people coming up?
I have not thought about that at all. I'm really just thinking about like, what's the next episode? Mm-hmm. We put an episode out every Tuesday, Thursday, and then an episode on Friday where I answer questions from the audience. I'm not thinking about like any sort of impact or anything. I'm thinking about like, can we get another interview while we're here in Chicago? I think we can. I hope we can. That's what I'm thinking about the most. But I think if we're just talking about content creation in general, I just hope that people be themselves. We just came from a long era of broadcasting where people spoke in broadcasting voices and there was like a persona that you played on camera and a different person that you were behind the scenes. And I love the new era that we're in right now where people can just grab their phone, doesn't matter what the lighting is, doesn't matter what their hair looks like, and they can just hit record and be like, hey guys, so I'm here right now. We're in Chicago. I love that that's the era that we're in right now because it feels authentic. This era of storytelling that we're seeing on especially TikTok and Instagram, I like that that's where we're at right now. And I hope more people embrace just like being themselves, warts and all, and like going out there and doing it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're in an amazing era, especially with WWE being on Netflix. Everyone can watch it.
Yeah, around the world.
Like it's really insane. But one last question, man. I don't want to keep you waiting, but I'm gonna take a page out of your own book. What are three things you're grateful for?
Oh man, I love this. Do this every day.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, the reason that this is my question at the end of every interview is because I want people who are watching or listening to see someone who's super successful, John Cena, Dave Bautista, Stone Cold, whoever it might be. And I want them to see that that person is grateful for the same things they have in their own life. Health, a roof over their head, family, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So for me today, grateful for family. I have the greatest wife, partner, best friend, Rachel. She's incredible. I couldn't do any of this without her. And then because of her and our love, we now have 2 beautiful children. So grateful for them. Also grateful for the whole family, my parents as well. Grateful to be here in Chicago. It's how lucky am I to be able to come to something like this, sit down with you, share a conversation, go to Elimination Chamber later. Like, the fact that I can somehow call this a job, it's still mind blowing to me. Like, really crazy. And I'm really grateful for health. I'm grateful that, like, it's something that I don't have to think about. There's a quote that I heard a long time ago, a few quotes about health, but this one is, you know, the well man has 1,000 problems, the sick man has one. And I'm so grateful that I can have 1,000 problems because my health is okay and the health of my loved ones is okay. So super grateful for health.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Chris.
Hey,
I appreciate
great to see you.
Good to meet you again.
Yeah.
Everyone go check out Insight with Chris Van Vliet on all podcast stream platforms and follow Chris on social media. You know where to find him. He's the man of the hour. Hit that boy up.